Hi everyone, welcome back to the SDG Media Zone. Our next session is Flip the Script So Gender Equality. Let me pass the floor to our moderator, Zanji, to start the session. Zanji, over to you.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the Flip the Script Dialogues, a series hosted by the UN SDG Action Campaign, a special initiative mandated to mobilize, inspire, and connect people to take action and achieve the SDGs. Before we get into the session, let's watch a short video on Flip the Script. My name is Zanji Sinkala. I'm an investigative journalist and freelancer for Context Newsroom under the Thomson Reuters Foundation. Your moderator for today. We are privileged to have Ms. Somaya Faruqi, Education Cannot Wait global champion and women's rights activist, joining us for this conversation today. We also have Mr. Tomas Gonzalez, Program Management Officer at UN-OHRLLS. Welcome. So today we are going to talk about how we can flip the script on gender equality and create a world where women are empowered to lead, innovate, and succeed. From the challenges we face to the opportunities that lie ahead, we will delve into a range of issues that are crucial for our collective future. Gender equality is a critical issue that affects us all. And yet, there is still a long way before we can truly achieve gender parity and empower women to reach their full potential. Somaya, what is the major obstacle in achieving gender equality at global level?
At the first, thank you for having me here. I think that the biggest obstacle in terms of achieving gender equality is deeply having mainly the men ideas, beliefs, and traits that they were perpetuated through centuries of social and our cultural conditioning. These beliefs and attitude, they will remain with us forever, with the girls wherever they are, without their basic human rights. And it gets from the girls their basic human rights like education, or employment opportunities, or as well as their power, and they don't have the position of the power or influence in their societies. And the other obstacle can be cultural norms that happening inside each society, which again, it takes their basic human rights from the woman, so they cannot have their voice to be raised, and no one can hear them.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Gonzalez, what do you think are the major obstacles in achieving gender equality at a global level?
Thank you for having me here. And I think along the lines of what Maya was saying, at the global level, of course, every society is different. But there is, I think, a thread that connects all the inequalities that are faced by women in all countries, and is the unequal dynamic of power. And this is something, in a sense, more difficult to address because it's invisible. The biggest obstacle for women's empowerment is invisible. We cannot see it. And perhaps the biggest tool to address this is to make sure that every policy every action that we take, that we design here at the global level, but also at the national level in LDCs, in other developing countries, in developed countries, take into consideration these inequalities. So we make sure that when we do policies, we are not amplifying existing power dynamics that are making women disadvantaged and are not allow them to fulfill their own potential.
Thank you so much. And as we are aware in the LDCs, you know, there exist so many social norms and traditions, cultures that really infringe women's human rights. What actions should the international community prioritize to advance gender equality around the world, to leave no one behind in the LDCs specifically? Somaya.
I think in terms of achieving the gender equality and to leave no one behind, there are three main things that international community should do, at least for least developed countries. The first one is investing on girls' education. It is the most effective way that we can do to eliminate the gender gap. If we can see in the countries that they are educated, there is less gender gap than the countries that they don't have access to education, like Afghanistan. The second way is to increase the women's political participation. If women participate in decision-making processes, they know better what is needed to be done for other girls and women. So it's a great way to at least eliminate the gender gap. And the third one is to empower women economically. So, and the key of doing is to provide the job opportunities for them, actually safe and equal opportunities, and safe and same and equal salary for them. And I think these three are the three key principles for eliminating the gender gap.
And Mr. Gonzalez, what's your opinion on this?
We have here in the LDC5 in Doha approved a new program of action, the Doha Program of Action for the least developed countries. And this is really a powerful tool for women. I think women are the main actors, the main protagonists of their own change. And I think it is important to promote feminism, to make sure that women have the ability to lead the change that we all want to see in the world. And the Doha Program of Action is one of the tools that they have available for them. And so for us, what we need to do, I think, is, of course, what Maya mentioned about education and making sure that they have resources, that they have all the elements in their societies to materially be able to achieve gender equality, but also support human rights, support the implementation of the instruments that we already exist. At the United Nations, we have the Charter, we have the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. We already have the documents that that chart the pathway to make sure we can achieve gender equality. Now I think the question is how practically we empower women so they can be the agents of their own change.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as we are aware, today is International Women's Day. So before we conclude our discussion, would you each give me a quote about this day? I'll start with you, Mr. Gonzalez.
A quote about International Women's Day, I think the Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals cannot be achieved without empowering women. And if I can elaborate for a second on this, often we say that one of the parts of the Agenda 2030, the SDGs that are here reflected, one of the goals is empowering women. I think all the SDGs cannot be achieved without empowering women. We will not be able to achieve the Agenda 2030 without addressing women inequality. So I would say, this quote, making sure that we don't leave no women behind so we can achieve the Agenda 2030.
Thank you so much. Somaya, what quote would you give the audience?
So the 8th of March is the day of celebrating the achievement of the women and what they are doing. I hope that women, wherever they are, at least have their basic rights to have the achievement to celebrate in this day. In all the countries like, for example, Afghanistan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, because each girl have the talent. We just need the opportunity to use our talent and to make a positive difference.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us for this dialogue. And for those of you watching at home, the action does not stop here. We're calling all of you to keep the momentum and join us for a journey of advocacy and action to flip the script towards a more inclusive, peaceful, and sustainable future.